Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Aadi Achint. This, the part 2 of my video covering the region of Ladakh and its various geographical points currently at the battle lines between the Indian Army and the People's Liberation Army of China. The second battleground, if you may put it that way, is the area surrounding the famous lake called Pangong Tso. This lake is situated at an altitude of around 13,862 feet and is about 134 kilometers long and about 5 kilometers wide at its broadest point. This lake also has a younger brother at the southeast direction called the Pangong Tso, which is located at an altitude of 14,124 feet and is about 26 kilometers long and 3 kilometers wide. The Pangong Tso is an endorheic lake, which basically means a water basin that retains water and does not allow any outflow to any external body such as a river or an ocean. Now coming to the presentation, in the north one can see the Konkala Pass, which, as I explained in the last video, is very important and very historical due to its use by the traders during the times of the Silk Route. This pass is next to the region of Hot Springs, or PP-17 Alpha, Patrol Point 17 as it's known in the army jargon. The line of actual control perceived by China swings south from this very region, hitting on to the Pangong Tso Lake close to the area of Finger 4, which we will see in a little bit. I'm sure we can also see a faint white line going down where my cursor is pointing out. This is the de facto international border between the two countries. This line shall also be explained in a picture which you can see right now. There is an 8-kilometer gap between these two lines, which is known as the Grey Zone. A couple of months ago, the Chinese decided to begin intrusions in between these two lines and brought in strong forces to do so. After months of negotiation, there has still not been a breakthrough. As a result, the Indian Army decided to consolidate its positions and gain a tactical edge in the region by occupying certain ridge lines and heights, putting the pressure back on the Chinese. I say we played the Chinese games with the Chinese themselves. This is the Pangong Tso. As I move on into the first region of Finger 1, one thing that I'd like to mention is the reason that these places or features are known as fingers, because the ridge looks like it when it juts out into the body of the lake. On your screen now, you can see the area between Finger 1 and Finger 2, which are firmly in the control of the Indian Army. You can also see where I'm pointing out the road which is used by our armies to access their main base that we shall see. As I move on, here is a clearer photograph of the road itself. One can now see the third finger, alongside which is the base of the Indian Army, somewhere around here. Moving on, we are now going to get a little closer, or actually on top of the area in contention between both the armies. This is the flashpoint of Finger 4, Finger 5, Finger 6. All the trouble that the Chinese are causing, which we can hear in our news today, is in this very region. On your screen now is the ridgeline of Finger 4, something again heard by a lot of us in the reports coming out from the media. Much was mentioned in the news about a map of China drawn on the ground next to Finger 5, and I'd like to take this opportunity to show it to you. Moving further, I'd like to bring to your attention the area between Finger 6 and Finger 7, where one can see the Chinese build-up of forces for this ongoing tussle. This is Finger 7, where we can see the build-up in a little better fashion. Now, the last finger, as if I may put it that way, is the finger 8. Further east of this feature is the Chinese base of Sirijap, which is supposed to be their base headquarters for the PLA in the region. Now that we've seen the northern ridge, let's move on to the southern side of this feature. The first body that I'd like to bring to your attention is the Pangong Tso, situated south of the Great Pangong. We have heard in the news about a place called the Moldo Hut. This is the location where top army commanders from both the sides have had a few meetings in their efforts to disengage and de-escalate the current situation. I'd like to believe the efforts on the Indian side, and the less said about the Chinese, the better. You can also see an area marked as a narrow entry into this valley. This place stands as an advantage as well as a disadvantage for the People's Liberation Army of China, as most of their supplies from the east come through this region for any action in this entire sector. One of the most dominating features in this region is known as the Black Top, at a height of 18,640 feet. I'd like to bring to your attention, if you follow the cursor, the road which was used by the Chinese to access the southern bank of the Pangong Tso. Now this feature that we're going to see is known as the Gurung Hilltop. It is the next most dominating feature in this region. The third, which we have commonly heard in the news, is the Helmet Top. Now Helmet Top, along with the Thakung Heights that we can see right here, provide for a great observation point for this entire region. The ridges and the hilltops that I just spoke about are famous for the battles fought in this area between the Indian and the Chinese armies in the war of 1962. Coming back to the narrow entry point, one can easily realize that this is sandwiched between two hills. This area leads to an open space in the middle known as the Spangur Gap, from where a line of sight can easily be established to the Indian Army base at Chushul. South of this gap is another dominating feature known as the Magar Hill. At about 17,500 feet, along with the Mukhpari, these two tops dominate the entire Spangur region. Two other places that I'd like to introduce you to are the passes of Rezangla and Rechinla, both around an altitude of about 18,000 feet. Rezangla, as we all remember, was the land of the bravest of the brave 13th Kumaon Regiment, Charlie Company, who fought a battle against the Chinese under the command of Major Shaitan Singh, Paramveer Chakra, on the night of 18th of November 1962, when 120 Indian soldiers were faced off against more than 3,000 Chinese soldiers. Of the 120, 114 Indian soldiers laid down their lives in defense of this region, killing 1,375 Chinese soldiers. Legend has it, looking at this defeat, the Chinese were bitterly scared of launching an offensive post this particular battle was over, and they realized what actually took place. Now, the Indian Army base at Chushul consists of an airstrip and an army base. This clearly shows the eyeball-to-eyeball contact, as we all like to call it. At a sideline, I'd also like to mention that any force dominating the heights in this region would be able to bring an offensive of the opposition to a grinding halt, resulting in heavy losses. In my opinion, that is one of the reasons why the Chinese army and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of China are crying foul. Strategically speaking, in my opinion, The interest of the Chinese forces in this region is due to its proximity to the base at Leh and the opportunity for the Chinese to try and cut off the Indian forces based in the northern regions of Ladakh. I have made a video explaining the entire northern region and its various battlefields. If you haven't seen it, please do check it out. Now, looking at the scenario playing in front of us in the past 2 weeks, it seems very unlikely or even impossible for the Chinese to make any kind of headway in this region. This is all kudos to the brave Indian soldier standing at these unforgiving areas day and night protecting our land. I'd like to also say that this area is as important to us as any other in this country. I say again, send your wishes to this soldier once a day, every day. Also, I would like to once again dissuade everyone from indulging a debate between which hilltop is with whom, etc., 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 and rather trust the armed forces as they know best what needs to be done in these situations, in these areas. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, share my videos with your friends, and I will be back with more for us to walk in the footsteps of the Indian soldier. Jai Hind!